Hello Wargamers, I'm Ramnus and welcome to my review of the Termagant for the new Tyranids Codex. If you like this video, I think you know what to do. And of course, your comments and subscriptions are greatly appreciated, so if you want to go ahead and let me know what you think about the Termagant or any of the other entries in the Tyranids Codex, please do so in the comments below. Alright, so let's get started. The Termagant is the basis of most Tyranid armies. He's, your lowly foot soldier. He's the basic guy for the most part. He comes with Strength 3, Toughness 3, Ballistic Skill 3, 1 attack, 1 wound, Leadership 6, and a 6-up Carapace T-shirt save. He comes equipped with a standard flesh borer that you see there. And his instinctive behavior is lurk. So that means most of the time when he fails, he's just going to be falling back or shooting if he's in a building. And if he rolls a 6, he can get stealth. So that's pretty awesome, I guess. It's not great by any means. You know, most of the time when he is not within Synapse, he's going to be falling back with that low leadership, so that's not great, but it's a lot better than the feed mechanic where a unit of Termagants would attack themselves. So for that reason, it's probably best to keep Termagant squads to minimum sizes that you can, as long as you have spare FOC slots. So I would take 3 units of 10 over 1 unit of 30, just because then you have to worry about just passing 1 leadership check, whereas you spread out the chances of failing if you have multiple small units. You run the better. You're hedging your bet with having MSUs versus 1 big unit. Granted, that's under the scenario where you assume that you're going to lose Synapse, which actually is not a unlikely scenario, seeing as most players will target Synapse immediately and it will not survive very long in the game. So if you were to take Termagants, you should probably plan on them not being in Synapse after turn 3, would be my guess. But yeah, so you have a few options aside from how many to take. For every 1 Termagant, you can replace its flesh borer with a strangle web. That's generally not worth your points, especially because it's 5 points per model, and you're really only paying 4 points per model as is. So you're paying more than an additional Termagant for the strangle web. So that's something that very few people would take. And then, speaking of its flesh borer or anything like that, you have a couple different weapons options. Like I said, he starts off with the flesh borer, which is strength 4 shot, but you can switch it out for spine fists, which are assault weapons, a spike rifle, which gives you a longer range assault weapon, or devourers, which are essentially 3 flesh borers tied together and have a longer range. So that's what this guy is. Now, flesh borers devourers are really the only option that you would switch these guys out. Either they're going to come with flesh borers or devourers, are the 2 variety of gaunts you'll see on the tabletop. And the devourer is 4 points per model to upgrade, so you're doubling the cost of the Termagant, but you are getting 3 times as many shots at a longer range. So there's definitely some utility in that. Now, would I do that? Most of the time, no. However, I find that in scenarios where people take devourers in like one big unit just with devourers, or a unit that has some devourers and some flesh borers, that they can be really effective if they're applied in a very specific manner. And by that I mean you're not going to start your game with a big unit of devourers just sitting on the table, right? They're going to have to come in from reserves or something like that, something where they're not going to be shot up the first turn. And for that reason, there's basically two options for if you want to take devourers. You can either take one unit that's just all devourers and have it come in from reserves or something like that, so that you have a little bit of a cushion as far as having them survive and actually get into range of the enemy. The other option is to take some devourers and then take fleshboard guys and put them in front, because Termagants can now mix and match within a unit. So you can have, a unit of 30 with 10 devourers and 20 fleshboarers, and so that way you have a meat shield for your more effective unit here, which is not a bad tactic. So overall, I think I would end up taking either mixed units or just units with fleshboarers, because the thing that you really want to have is just a lot of wounds on the table. Now, the other option that you can take is whether you want to take adrenal glands, which give you furious charge and fleet, or toxin sacs. Both are 2 points per model, and toxin sacs give you poisoned attacks in close combat. None of those are actually going to benefit a Termagant very much, as is. I think generally you want to just have them kind of holding objectives, slogging things down. It's really not worth adding the extra points on top of these guys to get those benefits that are going to be marginal to their primary function. So that's that. Overall, I think Termagants, clearly are still going to be the backbone of your troop choices. You're going to have, you're going to have a lot of Termagants and some tervigons potentially as your troops choices, and so they're definitely going to be something that you want to take. They're the best of the troop choices aside from the tervigon, and the tervigon definitely has some setbacks. So take them. Don't spend a lot of points on them, but I think MSUs are good in places where you're not taking just a bunch of devourers, because then that's kind of a strategy to spread out the risk of instinctive behavior. So, all right, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and happy wargaming.